good. Okay. So let me go to my incognito. How many of you are able to reach this screen? Everyone? Anybody not able to reach or the password not working? Thank you, Exceed. Okay. You have an issue?
I don't actually know what institution I'm logging in with.
Oh no, use the login password I gave.
Okay.
And I'm glad Erica you brought that up, because again this recording will cost me my job at some point. Is that I've been pushing really hard and Exceed has agreed to it, which is any person in a US university can log into Jetstream without an allocation, get a one-core machine that can run for 24 hours for a week. So you don't have to even ask for an allocation. So in my perfect world, every scientist should have baseline computation that is available to them, because it's almost like if you don't have that, you can't do science. So computational systems should be given to people as a baseline. So for my campus, for the Arizona people, you do know that you have like close to 40,000 compute hours per month that are like high priority. You can just like run a job and you'll be first in the queue or ahead of the queue. And then when you consume that, you can go in the baseline. So Arizona has been really good to adopt that. My goal is to get Jetstream to do the same, where every student or every US education person should have that. So just to show you what I would like for you to do is click on Launch New Instance. Here is what you see as all the different things available. Has anybody found anything they care about? But if you just put in Ubuntu, I think even if you put in, it comes up as the first image, right? If I put in Ubuntu, but there are 42 different images. Somebody's doing all sorts of interesting things. Map biomass from point clouds, secure something. People are not good about writing images, but you can always go. So I can go here, select it. Notice it tells me the version and where it's available. It's available in Texas and in Indiana. If there were more versions, I could then keep track and say, you know, the version 1 is completely useless. I'm going to use version 5. You could jump to version 5 and start it. And this is really helpful for experimental reproducibility. Okay? And these are the tags you can search by. Now I can say, you know what, I like this, I'm going to make it my favorite. So now, when I go to favorites, I don't have to search for my image. Today when you guys saw the Amazon version, Amazon public cloud has so many images that it's hard to keep track of. And again, these are data and computational management systems. I personally have made mistakes where I've launched the wrong thing in Amazon and chased my tail for a few hours before I realized that somebody had made a public image, which I shouldn't have been using, but I used it because I didn't pay attention and all the names look very close. Okay, so that's there. Then here are my images. This is when you make a change and you request imaging. So you say, I have built all the things and I want to make one for myself. And so let me show you an example. Okay, so I go to my dashboard, I go to my projects. I created a project and I'm a good citizen. I gave it a nice name. I gave an explanation. This is important. These are notes to yourself in the future. Because you'll wake up one day and like, what the hell was I doing? And it tells you, you have 2 running, I have 0 disk space, and I have 1 URL. When I click on this, I can see I'm running these 2 things. What is the IP address? What is the size? And where is it available? And then I know volumes, and I made a link. And I said, oh, go here to learn more about how to use this. Now, of course, this is going to what you guys had, but it could be wherever you need for it to be. Now, if I click on this, it tells me what I'm using. I'm using this allocation. I've used 9% of my 900,000 SUs. I can image it, and that's where when I'm ready with everything in it, I can press the button image, and it guides me through step by step, and I can say, this is LSST blah 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 for workshop in Arizona. And so now when you go to another location to teach the same workshop, you can say, we have done some cool things with the guys in Arizona, pick that up and use that. So you describe the image, you can already add new tags, so I can say, even have Dr. Compose. Don't say test, put something meaningful. And then here you can say this is version 1.12. And we don't get very picky about how you do versioning. It's up to you. I cannot get people to agree to any sort of general versioning, but whatever makes you happy. And then put a changelog and say, I did this and this is something new. Again, these are things you're not going to find in Amazon because that's not their, these two projects shouldn't be compared. We are trying to do this with an intention of helping you organize and put things together. The next version I have for Atmosphere actually has it where if you have Amazon credentials, you can give it to Atmosphere and it'll treat the images there the same way. Okay? So here's the changelog, none, next. Then you can say, make this public, anybody can see it, or specify users. So private is just me, or specific users. So I can say, I like this guy called Edwin Squidmore. Well, he's not part of my, there he is. Edwin is one of my architects for this. So now Edwin and I can see it, but nobody else. If you're doing your super secret research and you're still not ready to launch it to the world, you can completely control that. I'm not going to submit it because they'll back me for that.
Can you change that when you have created that project?
Change the visibility. Once it launches, as in the image, you can add more people to be able to see it. But when your image becomes an instance, that's a different thing. Is that the question you're asking? Or once the image is there, you can add more people who can see it. But when you launch it, only you can see it when it's running. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but here are some advanced options. These directories will be excluded, and these are important things because people make mistakes. They put their secret keys and passwords and private data. This will go do all the cleaning. Everything in home is scrubbed. So again, a lot of heavy lifting that we do for the users, and so you don't have to worry about it. You can even say exclude these files. I don't want them to be copied. Okay. So I'm just going to go back. I don't want to submit. Can you get me out? Get me out. Okay, sorry. Any questions about this? Cool. Okay. So now, yes.
Wait. So, what does it? It copies all your files in a certain directory, or?
It actually cleans that out. So what happens is, when you make an image, like we talked about sort of assembling everything.
Right.
When you're logged in and you're putting stuff in your home directory, that's not a good thing to give someone else. You want to install that software. So for example, you install a fancy version of Python. It's only in your home directory. And in that, you put in all the extra information that you need. Now, when I launch it, it creates my home directory in that same thing. So the image had your stuff. You didn't clean it. You didn't scrub it. I run it, and then I'm like, Jacqueline, I can't find where it is. They go into the other directory, and that sort of is complicated. But if you install it in user, local, somewhere, or like a standard install, where anybody on that system can use it, every time it launches, it creates it for that person, and their home directory is there, but the software is in the location it needs to be. So that's what you're doing.
But you have to upload your software to this image that's being created, or does it automatically do?
Very good
do
question.
Everything in your.
No, so what you do is you install everything the way you want it, with the assumption that it's not in your home directory. Okay.
Right.
You can still do it, but that's a bad idea on a cloud system. So you put that in user local or /opt, and I'll show it to you where. Okay. Or for example, when you do Docker and you install multiple Docker containers, they're eating up your disk space, and if you send it for imaging, it'll have that version. It might be good. The user doesn't have to pull it again, and that's good. But then it makes the image a little bit larger. And on the cloud, you want to keep things lean and mean, so only things that you need, so that it launches faster, it runs faster, it has the bare minimum that it needs. So don't get greedy and say, I'm going to install all the versions of this software, because then it gets crowded and it's not efficient. So, but you have to bring everything in by yourself. So, okay. Oh, you did, okay. So now let's take a look at this part. You can suspend, and this is very important. If you're not using it, press suspend, and your meter stops, and you can do what you want. Okay? And if you say, I'm done with it, I'll never need it, you can say stop. Okay? And then redeploy sometimes, and this is a reality. Bad things happen in the cloud all the time. It's just that you don't hear of it, and the companies are really good at sort of keeping that away. Running the cloud is really complex. It's painful. There's a reason Indiana and TAC are doing it. I still have the Cyber's cloud, which also is pretty big, but if somebody can do that for you, go use what they're doing. So you have to redeploy things. Finally, delete. Delete is you are going to eliminate it. You're like, I don't need this instance that's running. Don't save the state, don't suspend it, just get rid of it. Okay? Now here is the link for web shell. When I click on this, it actually does the whole SSH for me. I don't have to do anything extra. I didn't have to remember the keys or the password. I'm straight in. I can look at my system. I know most of you guys can't see it, but let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Can you guys see it? And so if I want to do sudo im root, I can install whatever I feel like, get the machine ready with all the things, and then ask for an image, make that image and share it with whoever I want. Okay? Or make it public when you publish your paper. Okay? So, any questions so far? Yes.
So if your code, your software, has a bunch of Python dependencies, all these different modules, it will know to pull all those out?
No, you would do the install. So let's just say we took something, I don't know if there's people on this.
So Jackie, once you launch this it's not basically the same way that you would install Anaconda on your own machine, you would do it here.
Yes.
And I think probably a lot of you there's an Anaconda Mac installation tool, but there's also a shell installation tool. So you would just copy that file over, and it's basically just one line in the terminal. You install Python, and then that's available for everybody who has the same image.
So, okay. But since you brought up Conda, we'll take a look at it in a different environment as well. So as Adam explained, you pretty much have to put things together, and once you do, then there's nothing extra. And I'm then going to blow your mind with sort of putting the Docker piece, which will first confuse you and then blow your mind, because it's a whole nother layer of computing that it's hard to wrap your head around. So far, we're good. So you'll be able to reach so far, Jacqueline? And then you're going to install some cool Python stuff for me?
Well, how long so this thing is basically like setting up your operating system so that from any computer you can run your software with all the right settings?
Correct.
Okay, and then things can directly, all the files you output can directly get on your machine?
You can SFTP to it and bring it, or whichever way. So this is like your campus cluster or wherever it was. You okay? Good questions though. Anybody else? Yes.
What's the password for sudo? We don't need to enter.
No.
And what about SCP?
So good question. What you would do is, now that this is already running, you can go in and under your profile, go to settings. Again, this is all on the wiki, and if you don't like any of the icons and you want robots, as you can see, my guys have put in a lot of thought on things that matter to them. Show more, and here I have put in my SSH key already. So every time it launches, it inserts that. But if you want to do it, you can SSH from the command line, and the same password that you had will work. So where is it? Let me see. I think I may have. Let me go back to the dashboard. Let me see this one. I didn't put the key. So here, if you want to now copy the IP address, you just hit copy. You don't have to remember. And then let me try this. I can do SSH. Train 70. Again, I was messing with this machine, so I'm hoping it'll work. Damn it, I put my key in it. But you guys can try it out without your key, and that's same. So again, this is the difference between Amazon and this, where all the identity management is synced. It's all working as one. Okay. So one last thing I'll show you now is you saw the web shell, and you also saw me open it on the terminal. If it had a graphical interface, I can click here, and here is the VNC. And so if I want to go here, oh my God, this Firefox. I can go here and say, run the web browser. And so now I'm running the web browser on that system and looking at it here. So here's the web browser running on my VM, which I didn't do anything extra to get that done. And it's all again with the same login password. So it's noon, I have to stop. I'm going to hang around for the next 2 hours. I'm available to chat with you guys. I know we didn't do the Docker part, but here is me running the same thing. And you can see, here's my, where did it go? Here is the parallel notebook that you guys created. I go click here. I get the same thing, and it's running on that machine, and I can just go and do things with it. So with that, I'll stop, and I'm happy to take any questions, and I'm here. So.
Okay, let's thank Nirav.